Hello, am I live? All right, I'm live. So, grace, mercy, and peace from him who is and wasn't is to come very soon, I'm certain. This is Rogue Diabetic, and welcome to the Digital Wilderness. All right, so I have some shocking new revelations about the second coming of Jesus to go through. But before we go ahead and get straight into those, I want to talk a little bit about this presidential drama, this presidential election drama that's been going on. It's totally bizarre. Okay, because now all of a sudden you have people like before the beginning of the before the presidential debate that happened on June 27th, which is 27 is 9, is 3 9s, and 9 is the upside down 6, plus June 27th. So anyway, and this is totally unprecedented. I'm pretty sure. At least in my memory. At least in like, I would suspect, I don't even know when we started doing presidential debates. I don't know if that televised one between Kennedy and Nixon back in 1960 would have been the first one. I'm pretty sure it was the first one that was televised. And I don't know how far you have to go back before you actually have like a debate that was maybe covered in print or on radio. If FDR ever debated anybody or, anybody before that. But they've never been this early, ever. They have never done a debate before the conventions. It's absurd. Okay, and we could poke around a little bit to verify that. I invite you to do that if you can find something in the chat that shows that that this isn't unprecedented. Shoot me a link. We'll take a look at it. But to my recollection, the debates were always in September or October even. I mean, the presidential campaigns, the general election presidential campaigns never used to really get underway, even in like the 70s and the 80s, until after Labor Day weekend. Okay, until they were just about over, because people didn't have like the patience to listen to this bullshit day in and day out. And this one's been going on since the minute Trump left office. He's been running for president. And Joe Biden has been running for re-election. So everybody's like totally fatigued with this now. Of course, now we have early voting. So people started voting here in, 6 weeks. And you just have this really totally bizarre and unprecedented situation, and where things are like really starting to fall apart. And everything's getting pushed back. Okay, I'm pretty sure the Iowa caucuses and primaries, and those things are the caucuses and primaries are getting so hard to keep track of. Certain states, the parties have their respective nominating, whether it's a primary or a caucus. They'll hold them on different days a lot of times. Even in years where the presidency is open, where there's no incumbent running for president. But I know the Iowa Republican caucus, which was the first, was on the 15th of January of this year. And that's the earliest it's ever been. I mean, even when I was growing up, even like in the 80s and the 90s, I don't think that Iowa and New Hampshire were until like mid-February, which it was still pushed up from what it had been traditionally going back to like the beginning of the 20th century or the late 19th century. Okay, California, theirs is in June. I think still is thinking in June. Nebraska's is in May. And so they were like the span of time that this nominating caucuses, this nominating started far later and ended way later too. And it was more compressed. It was over the span of a couple months in the spring. And now it goes from the beginning of the summer, or from like midwinter, I will call it midwinter, all the way through to like almost like late spring. All the way through late spring. I mean, it's like the nominating procedures from the Iowa to the last. You're talking about it's like 5 months. I mean, this nominating process goes on for almost a year, and now this year we're looking at and then we're looking about like 2 months from the end of the nominating process to the 2 to 3 months from the end of the nominating process to the beginning of early voting in the general election. Less than 3 months. But at least 2, but less than 3 months from the end of the nominating process to the beginning of early voting. And the Democrats' convention isn't even set to start until after early voting starts in some. I mean, they have to call before they have their nominating convention. They have to get on the phone with certain states and tell them tell those states who they want to be put on the ballot. The Democratic National Committee. So I mean, this idea that like there's not even a subterfuge anymore of like this being a democratic process in the Democratic Party. And there's only a thin veneer of this being like the people are electing or selecting these candidates. In the Republican Party. It's whoever the brokers inside the Republican Party and inside the respective Democratic Party that choose these candidates now. And it's absurd. It's absurd. And then but like one of the things that's like most remarkable to me is that before this disastrous debate performance, and I'm going to do a little video, or I'll try to do a little video, like because that's the catchphrase, and it's all across the spectrum from Biden, or all the way from Alex Jones all the way through to the Young Turks, and we're going to take a look at some Alex Jones and some Young Turks in between, and all the way into the middle. But before that first debate, it was like, no, Alex Jones, Fox News, conspiracy theories, Biden isn't going to drive, nah. And now it's like I say, it's all across the spectrum. From the outliers on the far left and the far right, like the Young Turks and Alex Jones and InfoWars, to CNN, to MSNBC. And it's hard for me to get like a real good grasp of who's more left leaning on that, or who's more pro Biden. I mean, I'm pretty sure that MSNBC is still the more progressive, more slanted towards the progressives than CNN, but at this point, it almost appears that MSNBC is like more sympathetic to Biden than CNN. And if not more sympathetic, then at least it's a toss-up. Okay, so all the way from the Young Turks, from Chunk and Anna, to MSNBC, to CNN, to Fox, to the New York Post, to InfoWars, all the way across the spectrum, from left to right. Or like all of a sudden it's Biden's disastrous debate performance. And it's like, I mean, it's like, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to try to find out how many different kinds of people have like used those exact words. Biden's disastrous debate performance. It's like that was one of their little like catchphrases that they sent out a memo to everybody that said, this is going to be the new narrative. And so now, actually, after the nominating process is over, an elongated, extended nominating process, they're like, all of a sudden, there's like going to put somebody else on the ballot. So, but let's take a look at some. Listen to what some other people have to say other than me. This is going to be Alex Jones. Fair use by use.
Back into Hair Biden. We now know what's going on. It's exactly what Roger Stone said 3.5 years ago. The establishment has had a plan to get rid of Biden the whole time at the convention. But he had agreed to team, they told him before the second term, but he said no because these guys all fight with each other, internal power. And Jill and Hunter are in there making all these side deals right now. And so Biden's doing one of two things. He's refusing to leave to the last minute to get more money behind the scenes and more payoffs and more guarantees. Or he's arrogant enough to think in his dementia and his Parkinson's that he can stay in power. And I think it's the latter. I think he's crazy enough to try to stay in power. And so they're now officially saying that they're going to try to hold some public primary without voting, but they'll then just decide through the delegates who the new is or the new presidential nominee is going to be. It's absolutely amazing. And so he goes to the black church in Pennsylvania, doesn't know what planet he's on, doesn't stand up. They tell everybody to stand up, points at his handler, says, what do I do? Points at himself, totally confused, can't walk down a flight of stairs. And as he wants to flounder and prove he's still a real man and got this big, great, oily, liberal, leftist lawyer brain, he now is running around all over the place, acting an even bigger fool, and it's spectacular. So here's some of that happening. Here's Biden saying, I'm not going anywhere with Psycho Joe. You know, the same guy that when he was a congressman got found with a dead girl, but got swept under the rug. Here he is with Psycho Joe, and the daughter of the real psychos, Zbigniew Brzezinski. Here it is.
Okay, before we listen to this, I just want to let you guys know, Joe Scarborough used to be like, he was part of the Republican wave in 1994. That he would actually won a Senate Congress seat in 1994 as a Republican in the first election in like 40 years when the Republicans had actually dislodged the Democrats and became the majority party in the House of Representatives. Okay, that would have been 2 years into Clinton's presidency, and it was like a historic election. Okay, it was the first time in 40 years that the Republicans captured the House. Joe Scarborough was one of the Republicans that took a Democratic seat. Took a seat from a Democratic incumbent. I don't know if it was an incumbent, but it was in a seat that was held by the Democrats from 93 to 95. And and this is This is another one of these personalities that's like totally not the same person, or doesn't espouse the same ideology that they did, 30 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago.
The bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be and absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. We had a democratic nominating process where the voters spoke clearly. I won 14 million of those votes, et cetera. So I just want, I not only believe that from the beginning, but I wanted to reassert and demonstrate that it's true. And I'm going to be doing that all through this week and from here on.
He starts getting mad later. Well, let's play more of the clips. Here he is. The elites. Oh, now there's elites. I thought there was no elites that existed. Trying to replace him at the convention. Yeah, we're tomorrow's Tuesday on that, aren't we? And then we've got Biden over the phone that he's been testing himself. Go ahead and play. And then we've got the video. We didn't dub the music in of Won't Back Down. This is actually Biden refusing to shake the hand with Black Lady. Here it is.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot, just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance, number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on. Come with me. Watch. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated with the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run again, me. Go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
Have you been tested for any age-related illness?
All right. I apologize for that. So obviously, we're having some issues with buffering because it's open.
Pre-Parkinson's or anything like that that might explain.
See if we can back this up a little bit, because there was something I wanted to say about this.
Musk is doing more than anybody to up that debate and to boost
Infection or something. They tested me. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but who move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot, just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance, number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
Have you been tested for any age-related illnesses, pre-Parkinson's or anything like that that might explain sort of having a night like that where you couldn't finish sentences?
Look, I had before, I was feeling so badly before the debate. When I came back, tested me before, I thought maybe I had COVID, maybe there was something.
They're shooting real bullets at Musk. They're trying to shut down his company. They're trying to shoo him out of.
You know what also is like amazing about this is Alex went on for like 20-something minutes, just rambling like about Musk and all this nonsense and showing Godzilla clips. And it takes him like forever to get into like the stuff about.
And did not attack Tokyo. It's an analogy
about Musk and Godzilla and
energy
this
came
all
out of his
just a
mouth.
random
That's
nonsense.
reinstating Alex Jones, boosting Tucker Carlson.
Rambling and barely coherent.
All right, let's continue on here. I say I'll cover the news and I start covering it, but this John Stossel report is just absolute truth, absolutely coffin nails to the enemy. If we just understand that it's what we're up
Look at
against.
his eyes. I'll roll him back into his head.
All right, shifting gears back into Herr Biden. We now know what's going on. It's exactly what Roger Stone said 3.5 years ago. The establishment has had a plan to get rid of Biden the whole time at the convention. But he had agreed to leave if they told him before the second term, but he said no because these guys all fight with each other internally overpowered. And Jill and Hunter are in there making all these side deals right now. And so Biden's doing one of two things. He's refusing to leave to the last minute to get more money behind the scenes and more payoffs and more guarantees. Or he's arrogant enough to think in his dementia and his Parkinson's that he can stay in power. And I think it's the latter. I think he's crazy enough trying to stay in power. And so they're now officially saying that they're going to try to hold some public primary without voting. They'll then just decide through the delegates who the new president is or the new presidential nominee is going to be. It's absolutely amazing.
That's not exactly true. But they do have a plan.
And so he goes to the black church in Pennsylvania, doesn't know what planet he's on, doesn't stand up. They tell everybody to stand up, points at his handler, says, what do I do? Points at himself, totally confused. Can't walk down a flight of stairs. And as he wants to flounder and prove he's still a real man and got this big, great, oily, liberal, leftist lawyer brain, he now is running around all over the place, acting an even bigger fool. And it's spectacular. So here's some of that.
So this has been the narrative that we'll call it the far right, for lack of a better term, has been spitting out since the beginning of this. Since all the way going back into 2019 or 2020 for sure, that Biden is a senile old dope, he's a pedophile, etc., etc. But mostly that he's a senile old dope, and that he's not actually in control. And the people that are like behind the scenes are the ones that are like trying to keep him in because they're the actual ones pulling his strings.
Happening. Here's Biden saying, I'm not going anywhere with Psycho Joe. You know, the same guy that when he was a congressman got found with a dead girl, but got swept under the rug. Here he is with Psycho Joe, and the daughter of the real psychos, Zbigniew Brzezinski. Here it is.
The bottom line here is that I'm not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. We had a democratic nominating process where the voters spoke clearly. I won 14 million of those votes, et cetera. So I just want, I not only believe that from the beginning, but I wanted to reassert it and demonstrate that it's true. And I'm going to be doing that all through this week and from here on.
He starts getting mad later. Well, let's play more of the clips. Here he is saying the elites. Oh, now there's elites. I thought there was no elites that existed. Are trying to replace him at the convention. Yeah, we're tomorrow's Tuesday on that, aren't we? And then we've got Biden.
Okay, so that is another odd thing too. It's because you have all these people, okay, from Alex Jones talking about the elites, and that's his like modus operandi. It has been for years, decades even. That this like cabal of elitists are running the country, and they're the problem. They're the ones that we have to get rid of. And I think that there's a genuine like belief out there that that's probably true. Right. And now you have like not only Biden capitalizing or Jones in the far right capitalizing on it. You'll hear stuff like this from Fox News. You'll also hear stuff. You're also hearing, since Biden's disastrous debate performance, you're also starting to hear this coming from the far left too, and the center left, and the center right, and all these people. So it's like they're all jockeying to try to, try to be the populists, try to be the ones that are for the people.
Over the phone that he's been testing himself. Go ahead and play, and then we didn't dub the music in of "Won't Back Down." This is actually Biden refusing to shake the hand of a black lady. Here it is.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hard and middle class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me.
So here we have Biden jockeying for trying to position himself as not an elite. So all of the actors are trying to portray themselves as being against the elite, now including Biden.
Go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
Have you been tested for any age-related illnesses, pre-Parkinson's, or anything like that that might explain?
What's pre-Parkinson's? What is pre-Parkinson's? Now, this is something that's getting play, and like the whole idea of whether he has Parkinson's or not. This is getting play in the media. Once again, all across the spectrum. From Mika and Joe to Alex Jones to the center left to the center right.
Sort of having a night like that where you couldn't finish sentences.
Look.
Okay, so the whole idea of him needing to be tested for Parkinson's or pre-Parkinson's, I mean, this is something that the American people, if they were really the ones that were deciding the presidency, should be able to judge for themselves. I think that a candidate has the mental capacity to be president. I mean, it shouldn't take a doctor to diagnose somebody. People using their own common sense should be able to arrive at the conclusion of whether or not a candidate is like able to be mentally competent. Okay. And this is stuff that's all been on the left, in particular, all the way across the left, from the center left to the far left. This is something that's all been this is a narrative that they've since the debate.
I was feeling so badly before the debate. When I came back, they tested me for, I thought maybe I had COVID, maybe there was something wrong. I had an infection or something. They tested me. They gave me those tests. I was clear. So, but look, I had a bad night. But the fact of the matter is, look at what I'm doing. I mean, let me put it this way. If there was something that was wrong, that night. It's not like it comes and that's one night and it goes away. That's why I've been out. I've been testing myself, been testing everywhere I go, going out and making the case. The night of that debate, I went out. I was out till 2:00 in the morning. That very night, it drives me nuts, people talking about this.
Okay, now watch this.
He says, watch me with the black people.
This almost
Watch the
looks to
support.
me like
Way more black folks at Trump rallies, but Biden won't talk to the black people. Kisses and hugs to the white people, but won't talk to the black people. And it goes on and on and on. It's been so.
that was like staged. Okay, I actually don't think Biden is mentally incompetent. I think he's playing a part. I think he's playing the doddering, senile old Democrat that can't win the election. I think he's an actor. Okay, just like Ronald Reagan was an actor, just like Trump is an actor, just like all these people, all these people that they trot out there are playing a part.
For a while, it is pure deep earth crystal iodine.
Okay, stop. Okay, so that's I wanted to play that for you guys because I just wanted to give you an idea of what Jones had to say, what Alex Jones and InfoWars had to say, and of course we got a whole 4 minutes of it after a 23-minute lead into it. We got 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes of it, and now we're cutting to a commercial where Jones is going to pitch his products, right? Okay, and the profits of which will go to the victims of Sandy Hook. Jones's victims of Sandy Hook. So if you're buying any of Alex Jones's products, you're supporting the Sandy Hook's hoaxsters. Just know that. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you guys would be what happened. Okay, it's going to take me a second to bring it up, but we'll get there. Now we're going to listen to Chunk and Anna Kasparian, the Young Turks. Okay, and the similarities between their rhetoric and the rhetoric of Alex Jones now is striking. Right? I mean, it's like they're saying the exact same thing. I'm trying to get some of these tabs closed out because I do want to move on from this, but I want to show you guys how similar the rhetoric, how similar Jones's rhetoric is to the Young Turks. Now we might have to back this up a little bit. But we'll just cut into this in the middle of their stream or towards the end of their stream. So we're going to get
how is it up to them to Sherlock Holmes where he's keeping his money.
Yeah.
He's spending it every day. Log into his Amazon account and see what the cards are and then take the money out of them.
So look,
Or lock him up until he provides that money.
You're right in that we are ignorant about what the rules are, and there could be certain protections for an individual's. I mean, look.
I'm sure that they are.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm glad that we're covering this story, because it's a reminder that it was amazing that they got the judgment against him or against Alex Jones in the first place, because generally rich, powerful people like this are able to just while away or like delay the process and everything. But now we're getting a second lesson in how difficult it is to ever actually get the money.
Right.
Okay. When you're pulled over by the cops and they find cash, in your trunk.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to find the spot where they're like actually talking about Biden. Okay, but you can't get money that isn't fucking there. And this is one of those things. I'm not defending Alex Jones. Okay, I'm not defending Trump or Giuliani. Apparently, they're talking about Trump and Giuliani, but that one dude just mentioned Alex Jones, and the size of the reward of the award was absurd. Okay, there's no way that the plaintiffs in those cases against Alex Jones were injured to the tune of $500 million. And if they were, I think it might have even been more like $1 billion. It's the same way with Trump with that one woman. She's not worth. He couldn't have damaged her that much. He couldn't have caused $500 billion in damages to somebody that isn't worth $500 billion. Trump couldn't have, and Jones couldn't have caused $1 billion worth of damage or whatever it was that they said he caused to a group of people that aren't collectively worth that much. Okay, and of course they're not going to take him off the air because he's going to sell his supplements and his water filtration systems and his books and his autographed books for $100 a copy. Trump's going to sell his Bibles. Okay, they're all going to be okay because they're still going to get something. But any profit is going to go to the quote unquote victims of Sandy Hook. So, but I want to try to back this out. To when they were talking about this commercial break nonsense on YouTube. All right, we're not going to be able to get this. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to back this up. Should be able to back these up. But that's another thing about some of these streams, especially if they're from, curated sources. You can't back them up. Whereas in like most live streams, if you come in the middle of the stream, you can back it up. So what we're going to do then is we're going to see if we can take a look at some clips.
He's been remarkably disciplined, and then actually went out there and dropped this nugget at a campaign rally down in Florida last night. It SOT 24.
So tonight, I'm officially offering Joe the chance to redeem himself in front of the entire world. Let's do another debate this week so that Sleepy Joe Biden can prove to everyone all over the world that he has what it takes to be president. But this time it will be man to man, no moderators, no holes barred. Just name the place, anytime, anywhere.
And Joe Biden's team promptly responded, "We're not doing that. It's a no. we're not showing up to your dumb debate. Actually, they didn't comment on the debate. They only said, we're not going to show up and do your golf game. He's been remarkably disciplined, and then actually went out there and dropped this nugget at a campaign rally down in Florida last night, SOT 24.
So tonight, I'm officially offering Joe the chance to redeem himself in front of the entire world. Let's do another debate this week so that Sleepy Joe Biden can prove to everyone all over the world.
Okay, so that was Megyn Kelly. So Megyn Kelly is a former Fox. And after she was on Fox, she was on NBC. But now she's kind of like really kind of gone the way of Tucker Carlson, in the sense that she's even like she's right where she's just basically a Trump girl now. She's definitely anti-Biden. She's not an independent voice, but she's not affiliated with any specific network. So she can kind of try to play like she is. But at the end of the day, she's just another shill for Trump. So now we're going to try to find something from the Turks. There we go. We'll just go straight to their channel and see what we can find. This is interesting. Chunk challenges RFK Jr. on Gaza. Maybe we'll come back to this one. Creditors coming from Rudy. Israeli strike near school. Biden's aide subpoenaed. And the thing that I've noticed about the Young Turks is they're apparently like with the fringe left that's supporting Palestine. Okay, because all the Republican Party and most of the Democratic Party are in solidarity with the idea that Israel has the right to just indiscriminately murder women and children because of what's likely was a false flag attack against Israel. If it happened, then the Israelis did it to themselves. But likely, I would say probably no one died. No Israeli died on October 7th as the result of any invasion by the like dirt poor teenagers in Gaza. Okay, but let's look at some of these headlines though. Biden's decline draws major concern from NATO world leaders. I mean, that sounds like that could be an InfoWars headline. Dems in full-blown panic over Biden. That again, sounds like an InfoWars headline. You might want to think twice before traveling to Barcelona. I don't know what they mean by that. Why the GOP's 2024 platform spells trouble for Democrats. I don't know what that means, but that sounds like it could be an InfoWars headline. Congressman makes huge admission about Bernie's 2020 presidential election campaign, I would suspect. Exposed the massive cover-up of Biden's condition. It looks like I've watched part of this one, so let's start here.
There's a lot of polling out there.
Oh, yeah.
The recent one after the debate showing more than 70% of voters think that President Biden is not demonstrating the capacity to be president.
Priceless.
56% of Democrats say that they would be better off with another nominee. Those are the concerns showing up in the numbers and that are affecting his approval rating.
What I find interesting is the issue is more around
Dem reps call
ageism and ableism, and not what this President Biden has done.
Perfect case study of how Democrats weaponize identity to shut down any legitimate criticism, even criticism or concern coming from their own voters. So,
whoa. What did Anna Kasparian just say? Let's listen to that in. Well, we gotta listen to this whole thing again.
There's a lot of polling out there. The recent one after the debate showing more than 70% of voters think that President Biden is not demonstrating the capacity to be president. 56% of Democrats say that they would be better off with another nominee. Those are the concerns that I'm talking about that are showing up in the numbers and that are affecting his approval rating.
What I find interesting is the issue is more around ageism and ableism, and not what this President Biden has done.
perfect case
Okay, so I'll let Anna take it away.
study of how Democrats weaponize identity to criticism, even criticism or concern coming.
So this is exactly what somebody. This is is this? Are we watching InfoWars? Are we watching maybe even Fox News right now? You get some Democratic congressmen come on after their dudes doesn't even know where he is or what he's talking about and can't even finish a sentence. And they're like, ableism. What the fuck is ableism? I mean, seriously, you guys? We can't judge people by their abilities anymore. But I'll let Chunks girl explain it to you.
And not what this President Biden has done.
Perfect case study of how Democrats weaponize identity to shut down any legitimate criticism, even criticism or concern coming from their own voters. So that was Democratic Congressman Stephen Horsford essentially smearing.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to push back on this a little bit right here. Okay, the Democratic voters overwhelmingly endorsed Biden in the recent presidential nominating process through caucuses and primaries.
American voters who have a legitimate concern about Joe Biden, his age, and his mental acuity. Now, Biden allies, unfortunately, have been playing all sorts of dirty games in order to keep him in a race where he is surely going to lose the election to Donald Trump. And now, in a new piece by the Wall Street Journal, we have some pretty shocking examples of how those around Biden have essentially covered up the fact that he has experienced significant mental decline. Here's the most damning anecdote from the Wall Street Journal. German officials, aware of Biden's fatigue at night, sought to accommodate the president by planning a June 2022, this is 2 years ago, June 2022 event with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in the early evening. The informal event during the Group of Seven summit was arranged as a confidential meeting on Ukraine in a relaxed setting. Biden didn't show, surprising the chancellor and his aides, officials said. Instead, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, someone we did not elect, arrived and announced that Biden had to go to bed, according to two people who were there. Now, later, after this report, Matthew Miller, a State Department spokesperson, denied that Blinken ever said that Biden needed to go to bed. I don't believe anything that comes out of their mouths. But with that said, we should see how Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, handled questions about this incident.
Wait a minute, Anna, I have a question for you, Anna. Are you trying to tell me that there's some sort of conspiracy to put Biden out there to where Biden isn't the one that he's like in bed, but Anthony Blinken and Jill and Hunter and all these other people are the ones that are really pulling the strings. Is that what you're
The
trying
Wall
to?
Street Journal reporting.
When the president was in Italy for the G7, and you remember he skipped one of the leaders' dinner, which was a major event for the summit. And I remember you were asked about it by reporters, and you said, you know, we shouldn't read too much into the fact that he's skipping one dinner. I mean, would the explanation actually have been that he was tired and that he needed to skip something that was happening?
My answer stays the same. I wouldn't read too much into it. It's the first time that he has a really busy schedule, and there's a lot going on. As you know, when the president is abroad, he has continued to do domestic stuff as well as meeting with global leaders. And so I truly would not read too much into it.
Yeah, the president of the United States tends to have a busy schedule and should have the energy and the ability to handle that busy schedule, because it turns out that president of the United States is a pretty serious job, but now we're making a mockery out of it. By the way, I just want to note, Biden also met with Democratic governors after his disastrous debate performance. And
there it is, disastrous debate performance. I don't know if if I got like Jones on tape calling it the disastrous debate performance, but I bet I could find Jones using those exact same words. We just heard Anna say it, right? I'm pretty sure we could find Chunk saying it. I'm pretty sure we could find one of any number of MSNBC talking heads say disastrous debate performance, or ABC or NBC or CNN or Fox or the New York Post. I mean, it was like one of their phrases that they put out there. That like everybody and now everybody's like using it all across the spectrum.
Them, don't worry, I have a plan. I just need more naps. Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped.
Oh, here's John. I bet he's gonna say that.
So that's what I wanted to bring up, and then I want to read one of our members' comments because they made a really good point. So first off, he himself told the governors that he can't function after 8 o'clock, and that one of his realizations is that he has to stop doing things after 8 p.m. So who's president after 8 o'clock? Who's making the important decisions?
I guess Blinken.
Yeah, or let's keep it real. Jill Biden, the first lady, is the president. Okay, so we know Joe.
That's the same thing that Jones says. That Jill is like running the show, and I heard Trump say it the other day.
Biden's not. He says he can't function after 8 o'clock. So, I mean, I didn't say it, he said it. And so, okay, Jonathan Boris Johnny, YouTube, hit the join button below, be part of the show. He wrote in, all I'm saying is Biden can't finish sentences. Let's forget about the election. He needs to leave office now. He cannot have one more meeting alone with any world leader.
Okay, so here's my problem with people like Chunk. And I know what Chunk was saying a year ago. Or 18 months ago, for that matter. Whether he was supporting anybody whether 18 months ago was he saying, somebody new should step up and challenge Biden? I mean, have these people just come to the realization that Biden is a doddering old imbecile? Have the people in his own party just come to the realization that he can't do the job anymore? I mean, even 12 months ago, there should have been time for somebody else. Newsom, fucking Kamala Harris, maybe even. I mean, she could have resigned and said, "Not anymore. I resign as vice president, and I'm running for president." Michelle Obama. I'm trying to think of like any number of people could have tried to step up other than RFK Jr. and challenge Joe Biden. And Chunk, why didn't you run for president, Chunk? I mean, get out of here. And now, after the nominating process is already over, and you're moving into the conventions, now all of a sudden this is like Biden has to be replaced because Trump is an existential threat to democracy.
And look, we were super worried about Trump at the end, well, throughout, but especially at the end, because we had known that like he ripped up the notes of the translator after he met with Putin. And we're like, can we trust him to be alone with a world leader? He's crazy. What's he gonna say? Is he gonna sell us out? All this stuff. Now we can't trust Biden to be with a world leader because we literally have no idea what he's going to say. And along the points you're making, Anna, there was a meeting at one of these G7s where all of the actual conversations between the world leaders happened when after the press leaves, everybody else leaves. He couldn't make it because he was too tired. That's a different one than the one Anna told you about. Well, if he can't function, he can't be a president. Now, and he's gonna be president and run for president at the same time and make up a 16-point deficit in popularity.
That's an interesting like citation. I don't know exactly which poll he's referring to, but Chunk seems to think that Biden is 16 points down behind. I mean that sounds like the kind of polling data that InfoWars or Trump or the Trump campaign would cite. I'm sure that most polls have Biden much closer. But the fact that Biden is like behind Trump in like national polls, so that at this point that the pollsters are saying that Trump would win the popular vote, the national popular vote, is incredible because that means it would be like a landslide in the electoral vote.
Okay, you have to be in a cult to believe that.
To be fair, though, I think American voters, especially the independents who tend to be the kingmakers in these elections, I think that they find it very appealing that one of the candidates needs to take a lot of naps in a day just to function at like 30%. But by the way, I'm not kidding. There are Democrats who are making that argument, including Democratic lawmaker Shontel Brown, who argues that Biden needing more naps is actually great. It's something that a man of integrity would say. Let's watch.
When the president spoke to governors last week at the White House, he told them, Congresswoman, that he needs to sleep more and work less. If Congresswoman, if a member of your staff said to you, you know what, Congresswoman Brown, I got to sleep more and work less, you'd fire them, wouldn't you? Or you'd start looking for their replacement, would you not?
Absolutely not. Listen, the fact that the president
really?
the president can admit his shortcomings, I think is a blessing. I think it demonstrates his integrity. I think it demonstrates his authenticity. And I think it demonstrates how genuine he is when it comes to telling the truth.
The Democratic Party does not respect its voters at all. At all. Not even a little bit. It's just
okay. So I have to push back on this. Anna, he won the primaries. Okay, nobody stepped up. Nobody credible stepped up to run against Biden, and the voters overwhelmingly voted to renominate him. I mean, the problem that Biden is going to have is getting people to show up in the center. Is going to get to, or people that are like ambiguous about Trump. They're not going to show up. They can't show up to vote for him. But they're not going to. If Biden is the alternate, they're not going to show up to vote against him. Okay, if we were trying to like analyze this in a conventional fashion, but the fact of the matter is they can say whoever they want to say won. They can say whoever they want won. Okay, if they want to say Biden won, they can say Biden won. If they want to say Trump won, they can say Trump won. But I do find this shift in this sudden shift in the narrative this late to be like amusing, incredible. I don't really know what Chunk was saying 6 or 12 months ago. If he was like throwing his weight behind, some alternate candidate, Chunk or Anna, if either one of them was. But it's too late, right? This is a conversation that the Democrat Party should have been having 12 months ago, 6 months ago. Okay, it's too late now.
Disgusting. It really grosses me out.
Chantel Brown's a crook. So just so you understand the context of who she is.
If Alex Jones or me or anybody else said Chantel Jones is a crook, we'd get canceled. Not that I'm aligning myself with Jones, don't misunderstand me. But I'm just saying anybody that says a female Democrat congresswoman is a crook that isn't Chunk or Anna, or especially if they're a Republican or something that isn't aligned with either party, is canceled.
Nina Turner was running against 11 people in Cleveland, and she was a heavy favorite. She had a huge lead, and nobody knew any of the other 11. Chantel put a statement on her website saying out of the blue how much she loved unequivocally. And all of a sudden, $4 million from Democratic majority for Israel. So and she had corruption issues already. There was a scandal about how she got funneled money to her boyfriend. Okay, so she raised her hand and they said, "I'll be."
Is Chunk Uyghur? Is he an anti-Semite or something? I mean, is he suggesting that there's some Jewish conspiracy and that you have to bow the knee to Jews to get on to win the primary?
Be the most corrupt Democrat in this race, and Pack like, great, that's the one we wanted, and that's how she got elected. 4 million swamped a 35-point lead. So of course they're going to send her out. She'll say anything. So she'll tell you how Joe Biden's lying about his age proves how authentic he is, and that the fact that he can't do the job shows what a great president he is.
Okay,
you can believe anything you like, but
wait, stop. Is Chunk giving a guest appearance on fucking InfoWars? I mean, get out of here. Is Chunk Uyghur giving a guest appearance with Alex Jones on the War Room?
It's on tape. I hope they use it against her one day.
Well, you can believe members of the Democratic Party who are providing cover for Biden and pretending like he's totally fine, or you can believe all of the polling that's been coming out, including the latest. This is from the Cook Political Report. And
appropriate because Biden's cooked.
Yep, definitely. I don't know if you heard, but he beat Medicare.
And he's the first black woman.
They have moved 6 states in favor of Trump as Biden continues campaigning and as his campaign flounders. So what they're reporting is that Arizona is a toss-up that leans Republican. Georgia, toss-up, leans Republican. Likely to lean Democrat. Then you have New Hampshire, likely to lean Democrat. Nevada.
But I want you to understand, as you're hearing likely to lean Democrat, those were in the category of Democrat. Have now moved to toss up, leaning Democrat.
That's not exactly true. Okay, so Georgia, so in 2016, Trump won Georgia and Arizona. In Nevada, in New Hampshire, Clinton won in Nevada and New Hampshire. Then at about this time, those were lean Democrat states. So in some ways, I mean, he's like overstating like the disastrous nature of what's about to happen to Biden for Biden. Okay, he's okay. Trump has got to get Arizona and Georgia. Okay. Now, if he got Arizona and Georgia, it wouldn't really matter if he didn't get Nevada or New Hampshire. But in order for this to be like the kind of blowout of the magnitude that Chunk and Anna are suggesting seem to be suggesting that it's going to be, he would have to get Georgia. He would have to get Arizona. He would have to get Nevada and New Hampshire. He would have to get all those Rust Belt states that he flipped in 2016. Right. And I know I have heard her talk about Minnesota being in play. So which is very close in 2016, but I don't think it really was that close in 2020. Or at least so they said.
Democrat, but might not necessarily be the case.
And Nevada, toss up to Republican.
Now Nevada's got, it used to be a swing state. Now it's leaning Republican.
Yep.
Because remember,
Yeah,
one of
but
the
if
polls,
you're
Biden was
leaning
losing by
Republican,
12
that's
there. He's
still-
losing by 6 in Wisconsin. You can't even come close to losing Wisconsin. He's losing by 7 in Pennsylvania. This thing's a bloodbath. So you can deny reality all you like, but numbers don't care about your feelings. So they're just going to just show up. That's just what's going to happen. And I got tons of comments here from our members going, I'm not voting. But one guy said they canceled the North Carolina primary. You didn't want me to vote in the primary. What am I going to vote in the general election for? You didn't give me an opportunity to vote for a candidate that I wanted. And tons of people are saying, I'm tired of the lies. I don't want to be lied to. I don't want to be made to feel like a sucker for going to vote for Joe Biden. And
so they canceled the North Carolina primaries. That's interesting. Because I mean, even if everything was all locked down, still don't cancel the fucking primaries. I mean, there's still like local and state offices to vote for in the primaries. You don't just not have a primary.
And either way, the only strategy, as Anna said earlier on the show, that the Democrats have is yell at their own voters. I want you to be a sucker. Just believe my obvious crazy lies. Remember, I'm the first black woman, okay? And that was in the interview where he was supposed to reassure us. And he had their answer prepared, and he still flubbed it. He flubs every answer. No, don't believe your lying eyes. And then when he loses, of course, it's not the beloved leader's fault. It's your fault. They'll yell at you again.
So
is this? Are we like watching the Young Turks, or are we watching InfoWars? Are Chunk and Anna making a special guest appearance on Alex Jones on the Alex Jones InfoWars show?
Oh, by the way, these are all anecdotes, examples of what has happened in previous years with Biden that was totally shielded or concealed from the American public and Democratic voters. I want to give you one other example that was laid out in this Wall Street Journal report. During a fundraiser at the Four Seasons in New York in June of last year, Biden spoke for 5 to 10 minutes and then took a few questions. Said attendees who bought a ticket, they were struck by how fragile he seemed. At one point, Biden couldn't recall the word for veteran. The president asked the group to help him find the word, saying he wanted to refer to a person who had served in the Army or Navy. And look, guys, things are not going to, his condition is not going to improve, meaning that as he stays in the race and as he continues campaigning, there will be more and more examples of these issues in the press. And of course, Republicans are going to use it to their advantage, wouldn't they? That's a smart strategy if you want to win elections. They're definitely going to do that. And let's just be clear about what White House aides have been up to, how far they go to conceal the true mental state of Joe Biden. Let's go to graphic 5 here. White House aides often erect barriers to keep reporters from asking Biden questions. Journalists are sometimes kept dozens or even hundreds of feet away from the president at events. White House staff often blast music so questions can't be heard during the president's exit. Because sometimes as he's walking away, remember, he usually doesn't take questions from reporters. Sometimes as he's walking away, reporters will be shouting questions at him and he'll decide to answer one or two. And the White House aides are like, no, stop doing that. And so now they play super loud music so he can't hear the reporters asking him questions.
Because we've all seen it, guys. Remember when he's walking out of the press conferences, he's walking super slowly and someone shouts a question at him and he goes, huh? And he turns around like this, and then he'll give a nonsensical answer that doesn't make any sense and then walk off. That's why they're like, oh, we got a genius idea. Since we're all pathological liars who are trying to deceive voters and keep this guy so we can keep our job. Who cares if he gets humiliated? And who cares if Democrats lose? Who cares if Trump wins? So, but we gotta keep getting paid. It's our job. It's our ego. Just turn up the music. Turn up the music so they can't hear the old man that we all know is having cognitive difficulties, but we're all gonna lie to you. Everybody who's part of that campaign, everybody who's part of that White House should forever be marked as someone who was pathetic, pathological, and
self-interested,
worked against the Democratic voters, worked against the American people, worked against democracy, all for their own ego and their salaries. They're disgusting. Look, one last thing that you should understand. this sometimes I do shoe on the other foot so that you get a sense of like, oh yeah, imagine if that had happened, right? Imagine if in the height of 2016 or 2020 race, Bernie Sanders said, well, I'm too old and I can't work past 8 o'clock at night. What do you think the press would have done to Bernie Sanders?
I'm sure Democrats like Chantel Brown would go on national television to defend him and say that this is a man of integrity for admitting what his weaknesses are.
They would have shredded him, and you know it, right? They would have said, he can't even work. He's so old, Bernie's so old. He can't even work past 8 o'clock. Well, who's gonna be president past 8 o'clock? But when it's Biden, oh, so authentic and wonderful. Can you see the lies now? What we're trying to do here at the Young Turks is lift the veil. I think you lift this way, okay? And then when you see the guy behind the curtain, you go, oh, that's the guy who's in charge? That's the one we were told is a genius? And oh my, we should never question them because they're so smart and bold and amazing and angels. That pathological narcissist that can't even form a sentence anymore, that's the genius I'm supposed to trust the rest of my life? No, they've been lying to you the whole time because they care about their interests, not your interests.
All right, you guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. We'll get to some of the other stuff that I was hoping to get to tomorrow. So, but yeah, I mean, this is like, this whole scenario has gotten so absurd. Where was Chunk when this all started? Where was Chunk 18 months ago? Where was he 12 years ago? 12 months ago? I mean, I'd like to hear somebody, I would really like somebody to leave a comment. It's maybe followed Chunk a little bit closer than I have over the past year or 18 months. I mean, where did all of this, like, because everywhere else in between Jones and Chunk just came to this realization after the disastrous debate performance. Okay. Another thing that I want to say is I don't think Biden, I actually think that Biden is probably, and Fetterman, and all these stroke victims that the Democrats have leading their party are probably like more or healthier and smarter than you think, and they're just actors playing a part. Okay. The final thing I want to leave you with is they're going to put in whoever. If Jesus doesn't come back to cancel the election. So that's what we should all be hoping for. That's what we should be praying for. Because if Jesus doesn't come back before the election, whoever they install to be the next president, it's going to be a rough ride. The next 4 years will be a rough ride. Like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm out.